you're toxic. But it's not your fault. Hey y'all, welcome back to Trimester Zero. If you're new here, I'm Martisa, a Black, queer, feminist homemaker, gardener, and hopefully soon to be first-time mama. On this channel, I share my preconception journey, all things queer family building, wellness, and joy. And if you're here for this kind of content, please like, comment, and subscribe so that we can grow this channel. So if you're an AFAB person trying to get pregnant, go ahead and get you a copy of Real Food for Fertility by Lily Nichols and Lisa Hendrickson-Jack. I promise you, it won't just change the way you eat, but it'll change the way that you stock your cupboards, your cabinets, and all of it. And let me start by saying, this section of the preconception series is brought to you by the brilliance and knowledge shared in the Toxins section of that book. Please reference the book for the full research, citations, and science. Because y'all, I am no scientist. I just want to know things that's going to support my health and the health of my family. So the too long didn't read of this conversation. Toxins are everywhere, in everything, and they're not just sitting in their body, they are actually wreaking havoc as well. And before we get into the what's and the hows, I want to be clear that my goal is absolutely not to fearmonger. It is to provide information that I have found helpful to make informed decisions for me and my household. Knowledge can be sovereignty, and I hope that it is supportive to you as well. So let's get into it. First off, toxins overburden the liver. And you know, your liver is already busy. It's the organ responsible for metabolizing your hormones along with so many other functions. When it's working overtime to process chemicals it was never meant to have to process, it has much less capacity for the jobs that it needs to be doing. And then some toxins actually go further. They're not just overburdening, they are actually mimicking and blocking your hormones directly. Nichols and Hendrickson-Jack call these endocrine disruptors. And the downstream effect in their words are poor egg and sperm quality, disruption of normal ovulatory function, thyroid disorders, problems with embryonic and fetal development, and pregnancy complications. And that's just in the fertility world. Essentially, these chemicals have the potential to throw off the entire body's reproductive system. They also point to research that link these chemicals to endometriosis, PCOS, now known as PMOS, fibroids, irregular cycles, infertility, and early menopause. So let's walk through the everyday toxins that we are going to find in our house and our everyday product. The first is one that many of us know, which is BPA or BPA related compounds. I'm not going to even try and pronounce what the acronym BPA stands for because I'm not trying to embarrass myself. But these compounds are found in a lot of the products that end up in our house in the form of the lining of canned food, paper receipts, most plastics, think your water bottles, your takeout containers, your to-go coffee cups, the containers that your lotion is in. BPA is a well-documented xenoestrogen, meaning it mimics estrogen in the body. And it's honestly one of the most studied endocrine disruptors around. Next, we have phthalate. This shows up most commonly in products with the ingredient label fragrance, because legally, this is a black box ingredient. Companies can hide dozens of chemicals and not have to disclose them behind the word fragrance. Think your air fresheners, your plugins, your perfumes, your detergents, your scented candles, your fragrance in your lotions. Phthalates are also present in your soft plastics, like think of your plastic wrap, vinyl, in nail care products, your polishes, in that salon you be going to every 2 weeks, and a whole bunch of our personal care products. They're associated with anti-androgenic effects, meaning they interfere with hormone signaling. And this is important for both egg and sperm quality. Next, we have parabens, mostly used as preservatives in cosmetics and in makeup. So think about your lotions, your shampoos, your toothpaste, your makeup, your deodorant. They're known to disrupt hormone metabolism in the body by mimicking estrogen. Even though they're often only used in small quantities, they are everywhere. And that is the problem, because it's not just the one exposure, it's the accumulation over time. Then we have our pesticides. Most common pesticides are endocrine disruptors. They interfere with hormone signaling in ways that are linked to reduced fertility, disrupted ovulation, and impaired sperm quality. With exposure coming mainly through non-organic food, agricultural runoff in our water, and proximity to spraying. So buying organic is one of the best ways to help start mitigate your pesticide exposure. Even more ideally is to buy from local farmers who do not spray and opt for pasture-raised meat and animal products whenever possible. Also, invest in a very high quality water filter to help get some of that extra one-off that is in our tap water. I also opt for air purifiers for the home, especially if you live in an agricultural zone, or even if you have neighbors who insist on having a perfect lawn and spray those chemicals. Next, we have perfluorinated chemicals, also known as PFAS or widely known as forever chemicals. These are very present in anything that is non-stick, waterproof, or stain resistant. They don't break down in our bodies, they don't break down in the environment, and have been tied to unexplained miscarriage, disruption of placental development, which can affect pregnancy outcomes such as preeclampsia, gestational diabetes, maternal and fetal thyroid abnormalities, and low birth weights. Unfortunately, the recent administration has also approved PFAS now being added to certain pesticides. So now they're also being added to our foods. And then last, we have heavy metals, a term referring to a number of natural occurring elements that through mining and industrial uses have resulted in widespread environmental contamination. These metals include cadmium, lead, mercury, aluminum, and arsenic. And chronic low-dose exposure can lead to various negative health effects. We typically encounter these metals through different sources. So mercury, very commonly, we are exposed through certain fish, especially large predator fish, like your swordfish or your tuna. Lead through old pipes and lead paint, cosmetic and contaminated food or water. Aluminum through antiperspirant and cookware. Arsenic through contaminated water. Through cigarette smoke, or food grown in cadmium contaminated soils. Whew, that's a lot. Again, this is information that you can take and leave as you see fit. There is a lot that can be done, but at the end of the day, there is no perfect way to live a toxin-free life. There's just no way to do that. So to me, there's no point in stressing out about it. We can only mitigate where we have the capacity and resources to do so. So let me tell you how I am doing that. For starters, food quality is of the most critical importance to me. We buy organic almost exclusively and prioritize shopping local year-round, which means we have to organize our week around getting to the farmer's market. And we buy as much as possible there, especially focusing on our meat, eggs, and dairy products. And then obviously I grow a garden each summer, and we try and eat as much from the garden as possible so that we know and control what is going into our food. However, we love a restaurant, and I'm gonna eat at a restaurant without any guilt and can't control any of that when I'm doing so. As far as products go, cleaning products were the first to get overhauled. And I'm talking almost everything. Laundry detergent, dishwasher tabs, all-purpose cleaner, glass cleaner, toilet bowl cleaner, all of that we get from Blue Land now. Disinfecting wipes, we swapped with a brand called Biome, which is very clean and we like. Hand soap, we use the foam pumps and we dilute some Dr. Bronner's in the water for that. Dryer sheets are gone and we replace those with those wool dryer balls and some essential oils. Plastic sponges, they gone too. We swapped those for natural fiber sponges. And we just decided to get rid of fabric softener altogether. As far as cookware, we had already replaced a lot of that as a gift to ourselves with our gifted wedding money. And we opted for made in stainless steel pots and pans. I think we got the 10-piece set, I believe, and we have absolutely loved them. We had already gotten rid of most of our nonstick and aluminum cookware before I went on this process and this journey. The only thing that has stuck around is the aluminum sheet pans because I just haven't figured out the perfect swap yet. And in our arsenal was already cast iron pans and enamel coated Dutch ovens that we've always loved and we still love today. But outside of the cookware, every plastic cookware is stainless steel now. And all of our plastic Tupperware have been replaced with glass. The only exception is a few lone deli containers that we do not put hot food in. We use compostable Ziploc bags instead of the plastic ones. And I'll be honest, there is still a lone roll of plastic wrap in the cupboard that gets used very infrequently, but at some point that also has got to go. We've always filtered our drinking water, but we upgraded to a 3-stage under the sink filter system by Clearly Filtered. And next up, we will get filters for both the showers and the bathtubs as well. And the thing I want to be really clear about is as much as I try to mitigate, we are not a chemical-free home. There are still things in our home that we use when necessary. For example, Odoban is still under the sink because sometimes there is a mess that needs it. Like for example, if we have a dog over that uses the bathroom on our carpet, I'm gonna need something a little bit more serious to clean that up. Or if I gotta clean out the trash can and I need some real serious fragrance support, I'm gonna use it. We also still get takeout and we still buy canned goods when we need them, as well as groceries that come wrapped in plastic because that's what we have access to. And I'm not striving for perfection. I'm just striving to lower exposure where I can. Now, let's talk about body care. I've opted for a fragrance-free tallow-based body wash by Local Revival. And for a moisturizer, I use a completely raw 1-ingredient shea butter. For my facial skincare, I use Rose Ingleton MD's entire line. Her line is fragrance-free, paraben-free, phthalate-free, and formulated by a Black woman dermatologist. I've been dealing with breakouts and textures as I've gotten older, and generally my skin has just started to change, and I really need something that works. So even as much as I would love to like minimize the amount of actives that I use on my skin, that is just not in the cards for me right now. So I wanted something that was both clean and really effective, and I have found that in the Rose Ingleton MD line. Now, deodorant is where it starts to get a little complicated. So I have stopped using antiperspirant deodorant since I was in college, maybe high school. So it's been well over a decade at this point. But the issue is that I have found is that most natural deodorants use baking soda. And over the years, I realized that I was getting these rashes and lumps and things as a reaction from the baking soda. Then when I would switch over to the baking soda free versions, those would not work for me at all. Don't matter how long I tried to detox and give it and all of that. So I started using Secret. And not the antiperspirant, the aluminum free Secret, clear on skin because the other is real chalky. And it works perfectly, but it has fragrance in it. So that's the trade I'm making right now. It is not ideal. If you have a sensitivity to baking soda as well, but have found a deodorant that works, please drop it down in the comments because I would love to switch from Secret. And then the last one is hair care. And I'm gonna be just so real with you. I have not touched this one yet. I know that so much of the Black hair care industry is laden with all of these endocrine disrupting chemicals. There are very few clean brands and honestly, almost none that I have really found. So if you have found them, the one I have found was Melanin. Melanin is a much cleaner brand than most. However, I know that also synthetic braiding hair is laden with PFAS, the same forever chemical that's in the nonstick cookware. But now it's actually just braided into your hair or down onto your scalp. And braids are still my go-to when I just need a break from having to take care of my natural hair. Non-toxic braiding hair does exist. However, it is very, very expensive and is not accessible the way that it needs to be. So I haven't quite figured out a solution for that, and I have not switched over my hair care products to cleaner versions yet, but it is something that is on my radar. And if you have products that you absolutely love, drop them in the comments. Ultimately, this entire process is extremely personal, and everybody's moving through it differently and at the speed of their own capacity, their budget, and the differences in their household. So ultimately, do what you can and truly just don't stress the rest. And that's it for this episode, friends. Next up, we will have our last episode of the series on the mental and spiritual preparation of preconception. Drop a comment and let me know how you are detoxing your life. Where did you start? What products are you absolutely loving? I definitely want to hear. And if this video resonated with you, please like, comment, and subscribe so that we can continue to grow this community. I will see you in the next video.